Hello, welcome everybody. We're here today at the GAC 2025, and I am here with my lovely, lovely guest, Tansley Stearns, CEO at Community Financial Credit Union. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Awesome. So I'm Tansley Stearns. I am the president and CEO at Community Financial Credit Union. We are headquartered in Plymouth, Michigan, which is right outside of Detroit. We're about $1.5 billion in assets, and we originally were chartered to serve Daisy Air Rifle employees. And Daisy Air Rifle moved south very quickly. We've been a community charter for years and years, and really honored to serve Michiganders and bring their impossible dreams to life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're doing at the credit union? I know you are always active. I see you on LinkedIn or other social media all the time, and you're at this fundraiser or this event or whatever. What are some of the things that your credit union is doing beyond like the day-to-day credit union stuff?
So what I'm thinking a lot about are two horizons. So one of those is daily execution, just what you talked about. We've invested deeply in our infrastructure and technology product line in the last 2.5 years, and now we need that to be activated by our team. And then there's this longer term horizon. We're very lucky that our board set out our ends, which is just a fancy way of thinking about our vision.
Right.
And it's bold, and our leadership team is thinking about how we bring that to life. And what that means is walking with people in some of their darker moments. I think all of us consider financial institutions for those typical needs. You might imagine a lovely couple running down the beach toward their retirement, and we want to be with people in those joyful moments. We also know that the darker times, whether that's cancer or domestic and sexual violence, death, divorce, these are tough times, and unfortunately oftentimes when people you love walk away from you. And we've been marrying our insights area with our ability to really have subject matter expertise so that we can build programs that solve some of these larger challenges for people. And I think if you can walk with somebody in those darkest moments, those are opportunities to build loyalty for a lifetime.
Awesome. Yeah. No. Have you heard of FiSafe?
I haven't heard of FiSafe. Yeah.
You have? You said?
I don't think I have.
Oh,
no.
you don't?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I interviewed them yesterday,
Oh,
and
good.
it just
Yeah.
reminded me they're a CUSO, and they
Yeah.
offer domestic violence assistance,
Good.
and they're actually I think he called it technology and empathy to be tempathy.
Yeah.
And so getting, instead of having somebody repeatedly call the house they used to be at, and then end up talking to the abusive spouse.
There's a lot to be done there. So we're thrilled to be a part of that solution. And what I love is that our insights area has worked with survivors to seek to understand what their needs are. And we have now 50 people that we know have been able to leave situations through a loan that we developed. And you know, that's true impact that credit unions were intended to make.
And it also tells a story.
It sure does. It sure does. Yes.
No, I've been to 25 of 26 GACs. Yes. I was pregnant in 2002, or actually just had my son. But I think every year we talk about storytelling. There's a speaker tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to open up, I think, talking about storytelling. And after 100 years of being in business, plus, Ukrainians still are reaching for that. I'll say, because there is a brand awareness issue. I sat in on the "Don't Tax My Credit Union" thing in session yesterday, and it's scary what they came back with. Some of the data that they came back with. So I know you talked at the Underground. Yes, Sunday. Gosh, it's going fast.
Time flies.
It does. At GAC, definitely. So talk a little bit about, give us the bullet pointed version of what you talked about at the Underground.
We have to be restless and impatient with progress. I'm thrilled about all that credit unions do. We should celebrate that. And we need to really push ourselves to be relevant. If you look at our growth as a movement, it only is with the largest credit unions. And if we're not growing, we aren't relevant.
Right.
And I am a huge believer in us telling our story. I also know that the very best brands have human beings telling their story on their behalf every single day. And we have those opportunities, and yet we haven't created the platform and the consistent drumbeat to make sure that that's happening. And I often think that we think of marketers and those of us that are really committed to storytelling and kind of pat us on the heads and say, that's cute. That's cute.
Yes.
And story sounds like something you do with your kiddos, and it is. And if you think about stories, they're the thread that ties human beings together. Mm-hmm. They are the things that motivate human beings, engage human beings, and cause them to be curious about taking action. Mm-hmm. And it's our responsibility to do that well. And, I've had people say to me, because we've built a coalition of folks under something we're calling Backbone to come together to share those stories. And I've had some people say, well, isn't that the league's job or isn't that America's Credit Union's job? It's all of our job.
Absolutely.
And more is more when it comes to sharing our story. All of us need to do it. And the more each of us does it and the more we do it together, the more people will be shouting that from the rooftops. We got to do that.
You create that cacophony of credit unions are awesome, especially on the Hill.
That's right. That's right.
Because they're looking at some bills that may not be favorable and some executive orders, millions of executive orders. But so I'm going to go with, I'd love to answer this question. I know the answer to this question. I don't know your answer to this question, though.
Good.
Why? Why is storytelling?
One, I think it is the thing that connects human beings, and in this world that we're living in right now, it's so interesting because we feel more connected with these devices that we have, and the data would tell you we are less connected than we ever have been, and the human toll that's taking is dangerous. It's creating loneliness and anger. And when you also listen to what happened, no matter your political beliefs during the last election, what became very, very clear, the American people are feeling economic pain.
Yeah.
Credit unions are the answer to that.
100%.
And we won't be that answer if people don't know we exist.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I share with people what we do and they scratch their heads, and if they're brave enough, say, what are credit unions again? We have to stop saying that. I don't want to be the best kept secret, and we have to be hard on ourselves until we're not.
Exactly. Love it.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, too, it works inside the credit union as well. Training your employees to know all those things would, I imagine, create better engagement, better loyalty. Along with some other stuff too. Yeah. But yeah, everybody wants to have meaning in their life, and you spend a lot of that time at work. So
you do. Well, and we have the same employer brand issue. If you talk to anybody here at this conference and you ask them about their origin story at a credit union, it will sound very similar to mine, which is I stumbled into it.
Exactly.
Let's not stumble into it anymore. Yep. We should be the very best choice for people that are graduating from high school and graduating from college to dream about working in a credit union. This is purpose-driven work, which is what the next generation wants. The employer brand and the consumer brand are closely tied. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and that'll count toward how the employees treat your members.
No question.
So,
no question.
And that is storytelling.
That's it.
Because you're not only talking, it sounds like you're telling somebody something, but it's showing it every single day.
Yeah. Well, and I would say storytelling is an art, as you know better than most. This, again, I think we simplify it and, again, think of it as being cutesy. It's not cutesy. What it takes to tell a really good story is craftsmanship. And, we have tons of great data. That data is helpful. The data's got to be connected to human impact. And what does that actually mean in somebody's life?
Yeah.
We talk about somebody who had a loved one pass away, and instead of having to sift through the Google and seek to understand what you do to make sure that you can handle that well, when what you're really dealing with is grief, that's a story. When you've got somebody who wishes to leave a very dangerous situation and the credit union enabled that, that's a story.
Yeah. 100%. If we get all of those going, millions and millions, because I know they happen every day. Yes. And I think part of the problem too is kind of operationalizing it. So the loan officers and the frontline people know to somehow document it, and then it moves up the chain and then gets out in the world. So yeah, I want to get to that kind of too. How are you operationalizing it?
We're working really hard at that because it's hard work. When you first say to someone, tell me a story, people's palms sweat and they're like, what do you mean tell me a story? I'm just trying to get through the day, Tansley.
Right.
And when you can say, well, what we really want to tell a story about is understanding the impact we had on somebody's life. How did a loan ensure that somebody could afford their life more effectively? How did we relieve stress for somebody? When you help people to categorize what you're looking for, that then connects to their work. And to your point, it not only allows us to bring that story to life, I think for the team member, it helps to emphasize why this work matters, what a difference the people in our organizations make every single day.
Because cranes are out there saving marriages and saving homes and all this kind of stuff, and they never want to, they don't see it that way. It's like, we make loans.
Yes. Well, and that's we've actually started at Community Financial talking about ourselves as a movement rather than a financial institution. We have financial tools, and ultimately that is the structure we have. The tools are not what's important. They enable dreams to come true and solving really big fundamental challenges.
So what's the next step in your backbone PR effort?
We really need more people to engage with us. The more credit unions that are part of this, the better, because each of us are doing different things, and the different stories from around the country and voices from around the country really matter. And we want people to see, oh, okay, in South Carolina, in Michigan, in Alaska, in New York, there's a credit union for me. And the more of us that are there, the better the storytelling will be.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And I always give my guests final thought, close up the show. What would you like to leave our credit union audience with?
Please do something.
I love it.
A bias to action matters in this moment. Human beings need us right now more than ever. And it's time for us to nudge towards action every single day. You know, that matters deeply. And when we do that, the movement will be better and human beings' lives will be better.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Tansley.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful.